just really fell in love with the feel of it. Found the Vibram Disc Golf Collectors Group.
Bring all that knowledge, all that perspective into the brand, and tell the brand.
Quality versus quantity, I think, is a big deal for me.
And I'm hunting these things down. I'm on the page. I'm stalking other Facebook pages.
What is going on, Vibram Disc Golf Collectors Group? This is Kep, the Vibram Collector, and I am coming to you here for podcast number 4. Our special guest tonight is Casey Lee. Casey Lee is one of the sponsored players with Vibram, so we'll talk to him a little bit tonight about his life with Vibram, his experience with Vibram, and just get to know Casey a little bit better. Before we do that, I do want to take a moment to thank our partners here, our vendor partners, CommunityDisc.com and DiscBite. They're doing a lot of things for the group to help promote the brand and do some special giveaways for us. So definitely go show them some love. Casey, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Tonight we do have myself and Brian B. Rye Prokop up in the middle there. Tom and
Nice.
Mike, I don't believe, are going to be able to join us, but I really appreciate you coming here tonight and talking with us a little bit. And admittedly, I haven't spent a lot of time with you on a personal basis, so I'm excited to get to know you a little bit myself. So kind of to start, I saw earlier Chase had commented that you recently moved. So where are you from, and what's your hometown? Would you call your hometown now?
I grew up in Salt Lake City, Utah, kind of in that area, but we just moved across the country to South Carolina.
Okay.
So I live in the Charleston area now. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm actually in North Carolina, so you're not too far from me.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah, I was down in the Columbia area today.
Oh,
So,
okay. Yeah.
What took you over to the Charleston area?
My wife ended up getting a residency for pharmacy school at the Medical University of South Carolina. I almost said Southern California. I wish we went to California. It's not as humid there.
Yeah, it's pretty humid in South Carolina, and we're getting some decent storms today, it looks like.
Yeah, it's stormed so I'm also a school teacher, and so I usually have tons of time in the summer to play disc golf. But all of last week, pretty much all of this week, it's just stormed and just been rainy. I live right by Trophy Lakes.
Okay.
Disc golf course, so that's technically my home course now. It's really nice, but if it rains, it floods. I mean, there's 6 inches of water in every fairway, so
And then
it's kind of hard to get out and play in that.
Yeah, and then you've got it probably a couple days after that trying to wait for it to dry up too, I'm sure.
Yep. So yeah, my summer's kind of been tampered with a little bit, but it's been good.
So you said you were a teacher. What grade are you teaching? Are you planning on teaching in South Carolina, or is that just what you did in Utah?
So in Utah, I taught first grade for 2 years.
Okay.
At a predominantly Latin-based school, so there was a lot of Spanish-speaking.
Okay. But
out here, I'll also be teaching first grade, but I'm in a pretty low-income area. So I'm excited to influence some kids and work with them and introduce them to disc golf. That was a big thing in my classroom. I know a lot of teachers will do a spelling game where you have a basketball hoop or something. I decided to just bring in a soft summit and a little portable basket, and we played a little spelling disc golf game. So it was pretty fun. So,
that's cool.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. How long have you been teaching?
This will be my 3rd year.
Okay.
Yeah, so still kind of new to it, but I mean, I feel experienced.
Awesome. Good deal. I've got a lot of teachers in my family. My grandmother was a teacher for years, and my brother-in-law and his wife are both educators and working their way in the
Cool.
education system in Florida. So I really appreciate what you're doing. You're really the
Awesome.
one that's affecting the future, man. You know, when it comes down to it. So when did you get into disc golf? You talked about playing disc golf with the students. Is that something that you've done in all the past 3 years? And
yeah, for the past 3 years, I've done that. I've probably been playing for about 5 years.
Okay.
I think I started pretty early on in 2013. And I've played maybe a little bit before that, but just I had no idea. I just saw a disc golf basket and was throwing an ultimate frisbee into it. But I started getting into it probably my second year of college. I just kind of stumbled across some Innova discs at a sporting goods store, and the art on them looked cool. So I decided to start playing, and there wasn't any courses around, but we just played on the football field and just practice throwing, and would watch videos online and just try to be able to throw the distance of the football field. Yeah,
right on, man. Do you recall what disc you started with?
I started with a DX Wolf and a DX Wraith. Those are my two discs.
Wow.
The Wolf is actually a pretty cool disc. I'm going to give
the
Wolf some respect, man. I actually threw an R Pro Wolf for quite some time. It's not a bad disc.
Yeah, I really liked it. I mein, again, we were just going off the artwork, which ones. I mean, the Wraith looked probably the coolest, so
yeah.
Me and my buddy picked those up, and then it started. It was downhill from there. Just, oh, cool. There's a boss. Yeah, I want to try that. Oh, an Excalibur. Yeah, let's try that. I mean, I just kept buying disc after disc. So
what speed is the Wolf?
I think it's a 4.
4.
Yeah, it's like a really slow mid-range, Brian. It's like the perfect turnover mid-range, really slow speed thing. It's nice.
Yeah, it's like a 4, 3, -3, 1 or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Pretty understandable. Yeah. It's nice.
What was the first the first Vibram disc that you picked up?
That's a funny story. So my wife she was just trying to be nice and sweet and decided, hey, you're into disc golf. She was out and about. I think she was at an REI and just kind of stumbled on a Vibram lace and an Ibex. And she's like, these ones look a lot cooler. They've got cooler colors than your basic ones. And I'm pretty sure they're made from the same rubber that's on the bottom of your hiking shoes. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I don't care. Free disc. Bring them on in. And at that point in my disc golf life, I had kind of plateaued. Throwing the Wraith, I wasn't getting a ton of distance out of it anymore. I just kind of got stuck. Started throwing the lace, and I told this story to Chase when we first started playing together. And the lace just improved my game like crazy. Like I immediately threw like 20 more feet, and then got a little bit better, and then it was 50 more feet. And story to Chase. Started breaking over 300 playing together. Nice. And then the Ibex, the lace it's one of the most versatile discs in my bag. I throw that way too much, I think.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you got to have that disc that can do a little bit of everything for you, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So are you one of those type folks that, tries to let the disc do what it's meant to do, or are you one to pick up a disc and kind of make it work for you a little bit more?
It kind of depends. Like I can kind of explain this with my ridges. So okay. I carry 5 ridges at a time, usually in my bag. But those are just different wears. So I kind of like to just let the disc kind of do its thing, but it depends on its integrity.
Sure.
So I've got some ridges that are really flippy, but if I just slow them down, they stay nice and straight. But then I just have some that I can just power up on and they'll stay nice and straight. Like, I don't know. So sometimes it's just kind of the case by case. Like I know a lot about what my discs are going to do according to the power. So it's a lot of touch. Like I don't claim to be the farthest thrower, but I try to keep my accuracy game pretty strong and try to get that touch game kind of perfected. So I have a lot of discs that are really close in the flight. Like I have an Ibex that's pretty close to my launch, but sometimes I'll throw my launch and sometimes I prefer to throw the Ibex. It just kind of depends.
Just depends on how you're feeling at that moment.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. So the Ridge, 5 of them, huh? Are you do you mix it up with weights and, firm, medium, soft, or are you carrying the same thing?
Yeah. Yeah. So I have this, I have them right here. This is my main putter. This is a pre-PDAJ Ridge. I got Paul Ulibarri to stamp it for me. I use that strictly for putting. I never throw it, never do anything but putt with it. Then I have my hybrid. This is my straight. It's just beat in perfectly to be straight. I find the granite ridges to be a little more overstable. So I kind of throw these off the tee. Anything 300-ish, I'll probably throw that.
Okay.
And then I have a softie right here.
Oh, that's
Soft.
a nice
Old
one, man.
one. Yeah.
Old soft. Yep. Acquired that from Steve Dodge at the Vibram Open last year.
Very cool.
And then I have I don't even know where it went. I had a glow one, but I must have taken it out because I wasn't playing glow rounds. But the glow just, I don't know. Sometimes it just feels better to me when it's humid. It has a more tacky feel for me.
Yeah, it is. I like the glow feel myself. I just I found that this float rubber has slid its way in the bag lately with the same sort of feel as the glow.
Yeah, I saw that you posted some float stuff. Now that we're friends on Facebook,
Yeah, yeah.
I got your feed.
Yeah, I posted quite a bit about the floats. They're kind of the new thing in my repertoire of tricks here, and it's been a nice addition. To be honest, I'm a little taken back that we're not going to have them for a while, but that's okay. I've picked up enough for backup anyhow. So, and hopefully I won't lose them in the water and in the woods. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
So you mentioned meeting Steve Dodge last year, and I mean, heck, you only started playing in 2013. So what's the story with how you got involved with Vibram disc golf at all? How did you even get involved with these guys?
It's kind of a crazy story. I ended up playing with Chase. He came out to Utah for a wedding. Okay. We ended up playing a course. It was like, I think, -5 degrees or something. We went out and played in like 3 feet of snow. It was a crazy idea, but we decided that we were going to do it. And we started talking about the team, and I had predominantly thrown Vibram for a long time. And a lot of the guys that I would play locally with when we started like intermediate and stuff, they always made fun of me for throwing Vibram, and I just decided I was going to beat him with it, and I just kept going and going. And I've always loved it. But anyways, I ended up meeting up. I had a friend that was planning on meeting with Steve Dodge to talk about a pro tour thing coming out to Utah that's now out there now, the Utah Open, by the name of Jade Sewell. He's the tournament director out there. Okay. And they were meeting together to have a lunch, and he knew that I threw Vibram, and he invited me out to come and play the course as him and Steve walked through it. And I ended up playing really well. I think I hit the basket on the first 2 shots that I threw. So yeah, I started off like 4 down through 5 holes, and he was really impressed. And then we went home, and he took us out to lunch, and he ended up offering me a position on the team at the end of lunch. So,
awesome, man.
That's awesome.
So yeah,
nothing like having a killer day in front of the man.
Yeah, it ended up working out. The cards aligned.
That's really
cool.
That's really cool. You when was that exactly? I was trying to put a timeline on it, trying to gauge in my mind, but I couldn't really remember when Chase said that was. Was that what, 2015 or 16?
It would have been 2015. Yep.
Okay.
Because I spent all last year. Last year, I think I was put on the team in February. So me and Chase played in December of 2015, I want to say.
Okay.
And then I ended up meeting at Steve Dodge later in 2016.
Okay. Good deal. Well,
So,
I
yeah.
was looking at the PGGA site. It looks like you had a pretty good run last year, but you kind of been laying back a little bit, taking it a little easy this year. It looks like.
Well, this year kind of got complicated with the moving
Sure.
across the country.
Yeah.
That kind of took a little time. So I played a few tournaments in the beginning of the year, and then I moved down to Charleston, and there just aren't any sanctioned events here. Like, I had to drive 3 hours to Augusta to play in an event last month.
Wow.
Like, I don't know. The disc golf scene is kind of strange here. There's a lot of people that like want to play, but everyone just wants to play casually. They'll put up a sanctioned event and open up 180 spots, and maybe 30 of them will fill with
wow.
rec
Jeez.
players, and so the scene is just really weird. I met a guy, he's sponsored by Innova, John Apsey, and he was just saying, yeah, like we just don't play that many sanctioned events, and especially during the summer. They just kind of do away with them because it's so hot.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's how it was in Augusta too. We played, it was only a 2-round tournament, but we played it over 2 days. We played one early in the morning and then one early in the morning the next day, just because it was so hot and they wanted to avoid the heat. So It's kind of a different scene. I don't know.
Well, if you
Still
ever
trying to
make it
figure
up
it out.
Charlotte way, you can hang with me and I'll carry your bag for you. You can play some tournaments up here.
That's probably what I'm going to have to resort to. I'm going to probably have to start driving up there to get to play.
It's a good scene up here, man. I mean, I don't play a whole lot of events. I do a lot of casual stuff myself, but I could play an event within an hour's drive pretty much every weekend if I really wanted to. Within Charlotte and just, the guys down in the northern side of South Carolina, like the Spartanburg area, and then a little north of Charlotte too. But they do pretty good. And then Raleigh area's got a decent scene as well. I don't know that they're getting any A tier, but the C tiers, I believe there's quite a few.
Yeah. I think the next C tier here is in maybe November. I'm not sure.
Oh man,
it's just kind of crazy. I mean, that's like close by locally. So
that you mentioned a name of a course earlier. I just wanted to make sure that I button up some of these questions that people posted earlier. Chase asked, "What's your new favorite course now that you're out in the East Coast?" What was that home course that you mentioned earlier?
It's Trophy Lakes.
Okay.
They usually play like the Charleston Classic here. Like if you were to search on YouTube, the 2013, like Paul Macbeth and Will Schusterick. That was actually the first disc golf video I ever watched.
Oh, no kidding.
And that course is actually literally in my backyard. Like I walk to it every morning.
That's awesome.
It's not raining. Yeah, it's just weird. I remember like watching it years ago and then showing up. I'm like, I wonder where that course is. It's got to be close by. And it's like, series, it's a 5-minute walk from you. Oh, perfect.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So
it's a really nice course.
Is it more of a pro style course, an open course?
Yeah,
or what?
It's definitely a top level style course. It's kind of set up like Maple Hill, how they have multiple tee pads go into one basket.
Okay.
So yeah, it has reds, whites, and blues, and a lot of it plays over waters. It plays around like a wakeboard park, like with the cables that go around.
Oh, right.
So
on.
a lot of the holes are like really close to the water. So,
okay.
But it's challenging. It's fun.
What was your course out in Utah that I know that you and Chase played that one course that he absolutely, it must have been a badass course for him to fall in love with it in 3 feet of snow and -5 degrees.
There's a couple courses up there. There's one Creekside that was probably like 20 minutes away from my house. It's named after the creator of the Ultimate Frisbee, Walter Frederick. He was actually from Utah. So they named the disc golf course park after him. Then there's Solitude Mountain Resort that I absolutely love. Big mountain course. It's only open maybe 3-4 months out of the year, but I mean, hole 18's 1,300 feet downhill. It's just crazy. You throw an ibex 1,500 feet. It's insane.
Yeah, that's Hey, that makes you feel good if nothing else.
Oh yeah. Well, it's
So
crazy.
which
Go
ibex
for
do
it.
you bag?
I bag this really, really old granite one. I just happen to have my bag near me. And then I have this 52 speed first run ibex. Oh, maybe it's not even. I think it's just a solid
First run.
first run. So
Nice.
yeah, those are the ones I used. And then I started bagging this one, this Obex. I don't know if you guys have had much luck with Obex, but Infinite Discs. They make the Aztec version. I'm sure you guys have probably seen them floating around, but it's the best Obex I've ever thrown in my life.
Really?
Yeah, I don't
Just
know
really
what it
stable
is.
or what?
It's really stable, doesn't turn over, holds the line perfect. Like I lost it at Trophy Lakes, and I bought 3 more like the next day, just because
Wow.
I wasn't gonna find another one. So there's a shameless plug for Infinite Discs, I guess.
There you go. There you go. Well, hey, we need to get them to be a vendor partner anyway. We need to get them on board. So hey, we'll tag them and say something to them. What?
Yeah, I could probably set that up.
What are you doing with the Crag? Are you bagging it at all?
Yeah. I bag a 162 firm Crag. I really like it. I think a lot of people have maybe complained about it, those who have kind of tried it. I think a lot of people wanted a forehand type mid-range, and it doesn't really handle the high-speed torque as much as we probably wanted. It's not as forgiving as maybe like a Justice, but I think it flies a lot like a Gator. I really love it. Backhand, it's never turned over on me. I could throw it on like a crazy kind of Anheuser line. It always comes out.
Yeah, agreed.
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, I don't have a flick at all, and so for my backhand, I'm finding it a lot of fun, especially in some troublesome spots where you just have if you're in the trees and you want to get out to the fairway, it's so stable that you can throw it like super slow, like almost like a pitch out type speed, and it'll just whoom, and it'll
just
finish in
hooks
the
so
middle
hard.
for you. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's gotten me out of trouble quite a few times, and you know what? I found that it's really good for a Tommy too. It'll flatten out really good and turn right for you on the Tommy. So it almost acts
I'll have
like
to try that.
Yeah, it almost acts like So I'm a big time first run VP, the orange ones, and I use them for Tommy, and I'll get them to come over and they flatten out, and then I know my screen is looking left, but it turns right, and I can get almost. Not quite a 90, but I could probably get a 65-degree turn on the VP, and I found that the Crag's doing the same thing, but obviously a little bit more distance. So it's been a lot.
Yeah,
it's been a lot of fun. So yeah, I'm really liking that. Are you bagging any of the old fairways, or are you just bagging new fairways now?
I bag this Ascent. I like it. It's almost as stable as my Notch. Honestly, that run is really stable for me.
Was it a large number
more,
or small number? On the back.
I do believe it is a small number.
Okay.
But yeah, I just get a little bit more distance than a Notch. I think it has a little more carry as far as glide stuff. But I bag that. I did bag a track. I just actually lost it. My wife had to take a test in Tennessee, and so I went and played a course while she was testing, and I threw it on some dumb Anheuser over some trees, and I never found it. But
that was it.
So I need to get another track, but yeah, I definitely bag the old ones, and I've tried to get Jeff Laney to get those back into production. So
I hear you.
Really
so
enjoy them.
What about the new fairways? Which ones of those are you bagging? Obviously the Notch, or at least you mentioned it earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I bagged 2 notches. I 2 glow notches actually. These 2. The blue one is predominantly for backhand, and this one's for sidearm. Okay. Just as they break in, I kind of want them to keep. I try to do that a lot. Carry almost 2 of the molds I'm going to throw a lot. 1 for sidearm and then 1 for backhand, just as they break in. But I carry actually all of the fairways. I carry 2 notches. We did a social media blitz on some of these granite. This is a granite arch. This is Granite Valley.
So you're
And
digging the
Vamp.
granite. So you really like the granite
I
feel
love
then.
the granite.
Okay.
I love granite. Yep. I did throw a granite notch for a little while, but I just like the glow. It's a little more consistent as far as the grip, and I feel like it might be slightly more overstable. Not all the glows are more overstable though. I've kind of found, like, I think like the granite lace is probably more overstable than the glow lace, but definitely enjoy the granite.
Right on, man. So are you typically flipping your bag pretty regularly, or those discs been in your bags for quite some time now?
Pretty much everything has been in my bag for quite some time. I think probably the newest disc in my bag. Yeah, pretty much everything's pretty new. Probably this. I throw a glow O lace for sidearms.
That's a pretty sweet looking color on that one.
Yeah, but I mean, I only use that for sidearms. So
okay. So
but, I mean, everything else has been in my bag for a long time.
So you're throwing the glow because of the way it feels, or just because it's more overstable? Because you can't be playing that many glow rounds.
No, I don't play any. I haven't played a single glow round out here. I throw the glow because I do like the feel. For a sidearm, I don't feel like it's as. I feel like it just comes off my fingers, so it's kind of slippery, but it's kind of tacky too. It's kind of a weird hybrid. But I also like it because it has. I find more pop tops in the glows, and I find those to be a little more stable.
Yeah, that makes sense. I hear that on the pop tops. They tend to. I like the ones that kind of almost have the. They've got the pop top, but then they almost have like the indention right near the rim. Mm-hmm. It's almost like it was meant for your thumb. Those are the ones that I like.
You'll find those more commonly on the float.
Will you? Yeah. They're fun. So what?
I need to throw some flow.
You need to check those out. They're super lightweight, but they're crazy stable because of the way that the weight's all in the rim, and it's really quite odd. Yep. It's a really strange experience. So one of the questions that's out there in the group where they were asking, what do you feel like your biggest strength and your largest weakness is as a disc golfer? What would you say to that?
I would say my biggest strength would probably be like accuracy.
Okay.
I feel like I'm a really accurate thrower as far as like tight woods or trying to land placement shots, up shots. My scramble game's pretty good. I would say my weakness. I wish I could putt better. So I'd say my weakness might be my putting.
Okay. Are you a pitch putter or a spin putter?
Kind of in between. Putting is just kind of weird. Some days I'm really on and I can make everything inside the circle. And some days I skip them right over the top. And, it's just kind of a day-to-day thing. Just
the way that it rolls. I hear you, man.
Yeah.
I hear you. So the group was really loving your Instagram account, apparently, man. I guess. Are you a part-time model as well? Is that like a part-time job that you didn't mention earlier?
No. I know the guy Boyan has a man crush on me, so that's really nice.
All right.
Oh, there it is.
There you go.
Yeah. So that was at Vibram last year.
Nice. That's a great photo.
I was sitting in my hotel, and Steve Dodge called me. It was like 11:30, and he's like, "Hey, someone's gonna come pick you up in the morning. We're gonna have you for a photo shoot." I was like, "A photo shoot for what?" "Oh, just for some pictures." I was like, "Okay." So the person actually taking the pictures was Stu Molenberg from the Flight Record, and we ended up doing like a 3.5 hour photo shoot, and so they got me some pretty good pictures of me.
That's awesome, man. That is so sweet. Yeah, it just fascinates me with the way that Steve, grew this team, I think that, and what's been so fun with just talking to you guys over the past couple of weeks, I think that it's clear to me anyway that Steve did a really good job picking some people that are representing the brand really well. Oh, there you go. That's a
Look
sick
at that
one right
reach
there.
back.
Yeah, man. That is solid. That is solid right there. Look at Brian with the photos. What kind of shoes are you wearing? What are those?
I wear a North Face. North
Okay.
Face shoe.
All right.
I try to support the North Face quite a bit.
Okay.
I pretty much wear everything North Face except for my team gear.
That's cool,
If
man.
I could get sponsored by them, that would be the trifecta dream for me.
That would be it for you, huh? I hear
But
you.
yeah, they're it's a trail running shoe.
Okay. Yeah, I think the trail runners hold up really well, and I think that they're a little bit lighter than some of the hiking shoes. The hiking shoes tire me out after a while,
Yeah, but if you go if you don't do a trail running shoe and you just do like a Nike shoe or whatever, I feel like my toe breaks out the side after 6 rounds. It's just crazy. So yeah. I really enjoy those shoes. So.
Yeah, my feet are usually too narrow for some of the North Face, but I do like how they hold up once you get them broken in. So I think one thing that is pretty clear for anybody that is trying to do something in disc golf is, hey, how do I get better? What can I do to progress? Especially with somebody in your position, right? I mean, I know that you got to feel a little bit of pressure being sponsored. What can I do to get better? So is there something that you're doing on a regular basis to improve your game? So, you mentioned that putting was might be your weakness. Are you going to the field doing field work, that sort of thing, or how do you work on your game?
So at the start of the year, when I was back in Utah in my comfortable little setting, I'd probably try to putt. I would try to do every night. That was the goal, but it would realistically be 4 times a week. But I would putt for probably an hour, and I would work on one day. I would just work on 30 footers and 15 footers, and I would try to just do every 5. And then the next day I would try to do straddle putts, because there were so many times I would miss putts with straddles. And then I tried turbo putting, and I would just try to hit all my putting things just to cover all my bases there. And that's when I was really comfortable putting, and that was great. Then I moved out to South Carolina, and I don't have a basket. We basically just packed up our car and drove across the country.
That's all right, man.
My wife's shoes took precedence over a disc golf basket, unfortunately.
There you go. That's okay.
But as far as, I took Will Schuster's advice of just going and throwing in a field and just emptying out your bag. I take field work really, really seriously. I would probably bring out 20 putters, every fairway driver, every mid-range I've had, and I would try to just mimic a line. There's an old golfer by the name of Mike Milne. He's a original Discraft sponsored player.
Okay.
He's just a really old good dude. But he just told me, he's every time I golfed with him, he would always just say, "But can you do it again? Can you mimic that line?" He's "That's a great shot, but can you do it again?"
Yeah.
And so when I go out to the field, I'll have 6 Ibexes, and I'll throw all of them on an Anheuser line. And I would throw in a lacrosse practice field. And so I had little lacrosse nets. And so I would try to get them all within my comfort zone of 20 feet or 25 feet or whatever. Just try to land all of them in there. But I would throw all of them on an Anheuser line. I'd walk down and then try to throw all of them on Heiser. And then I would pick them all up and then try to throw all of them on straight lines. And so you're just developing consistency. I think that's probably the most important part of disc golf. And with consistency, you need to have timing. I spent a lot of time with Paul Ulibarri working on my timing last year in Oregon.
Okay,
and
awesome.
Just kind of slowing everything down and doing, instead of a big, huge run up, just doing a quick, little 3-step run up.
Okay.
If you watch like slow-mo footage of Drew Gibson, a lot of his throws, he doesn't have a huge run-up. He takes 3 quick steps and he throws it 400 plus on a hyzer. It's just crazy.
Yeah, the
So
explosiveness, man. He's crazy.
yeah, he's crazy. But I would say just consistency and then working on your timing. I mean, a lot of these guys aren't huge. I mean, they do have really long arms, and that definitely helps with the momentum of the disc. But any of the top level pros, their timing is perfect. And their consistency with timing and throwing the disc is what makes it good. So that's what I would work on.
So you mentioned that you worked with Paul Ulibarri specifically on that. Is that something that you just knew him as a friend, or did you pay him for lessons, or how did that work?
He came out to the Utah tournament a couple times, and we met playing Monopoly, kind of random.
Awesome, man, Monopoly.
And yeah, it was like 2 a.m, and I was tired, and I had a round the next day, and so I just gave him all my property. And I was like, I'm going to bed, man. And so he ended up winning the Monopoly game. He's super competitive. And so we developed a friendship. And then last year, he gave me a call and was like, hey, I'm not going to be able to make it over to Europe for the European Open. I'm going to be staying in Oregon. He's like, do you want to drive out and stay with me? I'll pay for your hotel. So I was like, sure.
No
It was like
kidding.
the last day of school for me.
Wow.
And so I just drove up there. And, we played in a disc golf tournament called the Lynx. It was like the hardest disc golf course I've ever played. It was on a traditional ball golf course, and they didn't change anything. If you weren't in the fairway, you were out of bounds. It was like par 82 or something on 18 holes. It was just crazy.
That is crazy.
It was a long course. But yeah, so anyways, I turned to him and I was like, man, I don't know what is going on. I just can't figure it out. He's like, it's your timing. And so we stayed up till like midnight one night and just worked on it. And so
did you videotape
really
yourself at all so you could like watch it back? Or because the timing is like one of those things that's like, oh man, it's so tricky, because if you don't know what the hell you're talking about, you can, like for me, I've watched my videos a million times and trying to figure out like exactly what I'm doing wrong. And I had somebody tell me the exact same thing. It's not your power. You know, Brian mentions, oh, you got great snap. It's your timing. My timing sucks. I'm unwinding too early here, too late here, all that stuff. So were you analyzing video in these sessions with Ulibarri, or how did that go exactly?
He was actually just analyzing me.
Okay.
So he helped me develop just we called it the fist pump, but just before you go into your X step, you'll see a lot of players, either like if they have a disc in their hand, he does it a lot. He'll just do this quick pump, and that triggers his left foot to go into the X step. Okay. And if those two we just worked on synchronizing those 2 steps. And from there, I didn't have to do such a large run up, and I could throw just as far.
No kidding.
So I just started doing a 3-step run up and just slowing everything down. Slow and smooth is so much greater than fast and trying to do things with power.
And then just when do you feel like you really pick up the speed on your forward, on your pull? Are you immediately when you start going forward, are you going full speed, or is it one of those things where you just a little bit slower and then bam at that last second, or what is your timing like?
I go slow going back into my reach back. I go slow, but as soon as I hit like that point where my shoulders have kind of come together, and my arm is fully extended, after that it's just pulling through, and it starts with your hips and then works up to your arms. So but yeah, I try to develop, I mean, the speed is like right in between your 2 shoulders. That's where you really want to hit it as hard as you can.
I hear you, man. When that disc comes out of your hand, this may sound like an odd question. You may not even know the answer, but it was asked to me the other day. When that disc comes out of your hand in a power grip, which finger are you feeling it snap off of the most on that release?
It just kind of depends. If I am throwing probably as hard, like if I'm going to throw full power, it's probably going to hit off of my ring finger.
Okay.
Or I guess, wait. Yeah, this finger. Sorry, it's weird when I see it in the video.
Yeah.
Looking at it. So yeah, it's probably my two middle fingers that I get the snap off of.
Okay.
If I'm throwing more of a controlled shot, then it'll probably be like here. Like I develop a callus here, but if I'm throwing hard, then it's off of these two fingers.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. Yeah, because I had a, I'm not real consistent at all, but I had a ridiculous throw the other day, and I noticed considerable difference in that it snapped off my middle and ring finger. And my wife was like, damn, you threw that disc far. She goes, what'd you do different? I was like, I don't know, but it snapped off my hand differently for sure.
Yeah.
And it was my Cowbex, the black and white Obex. And it really turned over hard, and it came back, but it went a good 25, 30 feet further than I typically throw it. And
awesome.
It just felt nice. Yeah, I've just been really trying to focus on what you said, going slow and bringing that through, because it's not something that I'm really good at. And I'm terrible at sidearms, so I've been trying to work on that as well. But
Gotcha.
I'm definitely going to have to use some of your advice there and work on that. Do you feel like, with keeping your game, with where you're at, I was looking at where your ratings have been, over the year. Really, it's kind of been a year and a half or what have you here. Do you feel like it's one of those things that makes sense to you? Do you know that, hey, I can look at this and know that I'm going to have a better score today than I did last time? I know there's a question out there about the rating. I see where your rating is now. Do you think that makes sense in your mind? Like you're a 938. Do you feel like that's really representative of who you are, or do you feel like you're a better player than that?
I don't know. I guess a prime example is, I went and played this War of the Waters tournament, and I guess the course record there is like -7 maybe, and that's held by Ricky. So I was through 10 holes. I was probably 10 down. So that would be like a 1,020 rated if I would have just parred out. So I feel like I can compete at that level. Like that wasn't like anything over exaggerated. Like I was playing amazingly, just kind of playing, just kind of a steady pace. And then I found some OBs, and that stuff always happens as you play. But I feel like I usually shoot a pretty good round, and then I'll find OBs, or maybe I'll not play such a good round, and then the next round I can make up on and try to learn from my mistakes. But yeah, I don't know if round ratings really, to answer your question, I don't think they represent how good a player really is. But I think they represent how consistent a player is.
That makes sense. That's fair.
I feel like people can go out and shoot really hot rounds, and they can have killer days, and that's awesome. But it comes down to can you do that consistently? Can you consistently shoot it 5 under par? Can you consistently keep your round to the point where you are going to finish under par? And that comes down to like mental game and knowing your shot. And I mean, I didn't know the course. I was playing it blind. I had tried to watch it on online video, but yeah, I just didn't have time to practice it. And that's kind of what it comes down to, is you can only do so much with your given circumstances. And yeah.
I hear that, man. Well, I was looking at, your best round, and you had a damn good round at Vibram Open last year, man.
Yeah.
994. Yeah. That was a pretty sick second round, it looks like.
Yeah. And I had a 971
see that.
round after that. So yeah. I mean, I traveled all the way out to Massachusetts to play. I played the first day, and I didn't really have a chance to practice. I was trying to help Steve with setting up like that big Zuka tower that they have on all the Pro Tour events.
Yeah.
It was the first time they'd ever set it up, and so
fun times.
Yeah, we tried to do that, and I just got off a red eye, and so I went and tried to practice. But I ended up practicing the blue course, I think, and that day I was playing whites, so I was playing that completely blind, and so it was kind of frustrating. At the end of the day, I think I was in like 63rd place, And I was like, wow, I just drove all this ways and I'm going to finish in the middle of the pack. And so the next day I ended up shooting some really good rounds and kind of put some stuff together. And the final round, I came out and bumped up a few more spots. I think after that 994 rated round, it put me into 9th place or tied in 9th or something. And then I bumped up 3 more spots and finished in 6th. So it was really good.
Yeah, you got to be proud of that.
Yeah. I mean, when things come together and you're hitting all your lines and your timing is working and you're not trying to rush things too much, it's, I mean, you could really sling together some good rounds, but again, it's about being consistent.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say the same thing. I think. Are you playing this year at the Vibram Open?
I'm signed up and registered for it, but with my new work, I don't know what my time off kind of schedule is going to be because the school year will already have been started. Whereas last year it took place at the end of July, so I could attend it pretty easily.
What one of the questions that Brian typically puts out there, but I'm going to steal it from him. When was your last ace?
My last ace. I don't know. Ace on in a tournament or just whatever.
That's you,
ace
Brian.
in a round.
It's just in a round. Okay.
Yeah, not like unloading your bag on a hole, but in a round.
My last one in a round, I was practicing for a tournament in Utah. I threw this gummed up 158 vamp. It's stupid unstable. And there was a left-handed player that we were doing our practice round with, and he's like, oh, this is an easy lefty line. I was like, all right, I'm going to throw this. And I just tried to mimic his lefty line with a dumb overstable disc, and it ended up landing 2 feet in front of the basket and actually bouncing up and in.
So you threw it opposite hand, Ace?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's badass.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Man.
So that was the last one, and it didn't skip. It full on just bounced. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Full on bounced off the ground. It was crazy. But yeah, that was my last one in a round. I think I aced 2 weeks later, but that was just unloading on different holes and not playing the course how it's meant to be played.
So this opposite hand thing, man, we got to talk about this a little bit because a friend of mine that is from this area, AJ Carey, just won Amateur Worlds up there.
Yeah,
and he did really well, and but he throws both hands. And I remember the first time ever playing with the guy. We played and we were playing league, and we actually started on hole 1, which is so rare. But we threw hole 1, and he threw right-handed. And they threw left-handed hole 2 because right hand's kind of first hole's straight. Second hole, you want to stay up on the hill, so really a left hand is better. But I couldn't quite figure out what he was doing until the third hole. And I was like, dude, are you seriously throwing with both hands? And he's like, yeah. He goes, I can't flick worth a damn. He goes, it's just I knew that I had to figure out something, so now I throw both hands. And lo and behold, this dude's winning, Amateur Worlds. So is that something that you do on a regular, or is it just something that you're goofing around that day?
Just goofing around.
Okay.
I actually ended up, so I think it was my second year playing. I ended up messing up my elbow with some, I got golfer's elbow. I know there's tennis elbow, and then golfer's elbow is on the inside of my elbow. Mm-hmm. And so I couldn't play for a long time, but I still wanted to keep playing and still be familiar with my discs. And so I tried to learn how to throw left-handed for a long time. And I got okay with it, but I mean, nothing worth mentioning ever again. I decided a flick would probably be better.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Is a flick something that you pull out pretty regularly then, or just when you need it?
I actually started predominantly being a flick player until I learned that you could throw further with a backhand. And so I basically went from flick straight over to backhand and became a backhand player. And then I kind of lost throwing a sidearm, just developing turnovers and stuff like that. And so this year I guess a little bit of last year. The end of last year, I started trying to work it out, and last year it did not go very well, so I kind of stopped. And then the beginning of this year, I've kind of figured it out again. So yeah, I am trying to play both and be confident with both. I definitely would rather throw a backhand. And my wife, when she was at the tournament with me, she's like, "You need to stop throwing that other way. It's not working out for you."
Oh, she's calling it out, huh?
So she called me out on the sidearm, but I don't know. I just tried to be confident with it and keep throwing good shots with it. And sometimes it works. Sometimes I roll my wrist a little bit.
I hear that, man. That's
So,
okay.
yeah.
So I know that you're a teacher full time. You know, is that something that you're looking to do full time? You know, Guy Bullion put out there. You know, what do you look like for your disc golf retirement to go? I mean, I think we're all pretty clear that nobody's. Well, I shouldn't say nobody, but very few people are going to retire as disc golfers in the near future. Maybe 20, 30 years from now, the sport will be at that level. But do you see yourself doing teaching full time, and how do you think that'll impact your disc golfing now?
Yeah, I think I'll probably keep teaching full time. I don't think I could do. I would like to dedicate my time to touring, but I don't think I could, like, trying to start a family and stuff like that. I don't think I could dedicate the time to do it unless I was already in it. Like Nate Doss, like I know he just had a kid, and Nate Sexton, they just had kids. But they're kind of already in. I mean, that's kind of already their job, where I've gone to school to be a teacher, and that's kind of what I want to do. My wife is going to graduate with pharmacy, and she'll make quite a bit of money. So maybe that will change, and I can dedicate a little more time to disc golf and be a stay-at-home dad or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I hear you.
Be a house husband.
Hey, that's okay. Hey, who was it? Michael Keaton pulled it off, or was it Tom Hanks? Who the hell was Mr. Mom? Which movie?
Keaton.
You guys are probably too young
That
for that.
That was Keaton.
Yeah,
Michael Keaton. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great movie. Good stuff.
So yeah, that would be the dream. But I would like to just keep playing disc golf and try to get better. My rating slowly goes up, and I think if I can kind of get into my groove out here and try to find some stuff to keep me a little more consistent, and avoid the floods of the courses, I think I'll be doing okay. So, what do you feel like you would benefit from the brand? I mean, we've talked about, you know, several discs that are coming out, but what is it that Casey Lee would like to see for his bag that would help him fill some gaps? Probably something in like the utility discs type thing. I've I guess been harping about this for a little while. Like, I really like the Crag, but for like a sidearm get out of trouble, a lot of times when you're stuck in a sticky situation on a course, you don't have a lot of room for a backhand. You can't reach out, but if you can throw a sidearm and you feel comfortable throwing like a flex sidearm with like a mid-range, you can really save a lot of strokes with that. So I'd really like to see a big brother to the Crag, maybe, or maybe like a retooling of the Crag that would to get us to that point, so we'd have more like a Justice type thing that the trilogy makes. I would think that would be really good. But other than that, I feel like we have a really good setup as far as our lineup. There might be a couple gaps that might help beginners out. I know there's like the Onyx and the Vamp are okay, but I think there would be some other discs that would be a little more understable. Something maybe a little more understable than the Launch. The Launch is it is an understable mid-range, but it's a lot of work to get it to be understable. It's not an easy understable mid-range.
Yeah, I found that too. I've actually found, you know, the word on the street is, oh, it's pretty much the same thing as the Ibex. But actually what I found myself throwing the Launch when I know I want something. So let's say that, you know, I've got a target that's straight ahead but behind a tree. You know, my Obex, but I've got a tight gap on the right side. My Obex would have to swing too wide and I couldn't quite get it to cut in. But that Launch seems to, for me, seems to go dead straight until the last second, and then it just has a little baby drop off, which seems to be really nice. And I found myself when I played this course this week. Whoever designed this course loved putting the basket directly behind a tree or slightly behind a tree, and so I really found myself throwing that launch and saying, "Hey, let me try to hit that open spot just to the right of the basket." And right as it would slow down, it would just at the last second give a little bit of finish. Are you finding that too, or are you seeing it pretty staying understable for you?
I mean, again, it goes back to like your speed and how you're using the disc. If I throw the launch at more of like a controlled, not full speed type thing, it stays pretty dead straight for me. And like you said, has that tiny little bit of drop off. But if I throw it at like a full speed off the tee, it'll flip up to straight and it will just hold a very, very slow turn, but never like a dumping turn. It just rides very slow for maybe 20, 30 feet and then just kind of settles down. Like I can't really get an ibex to do that unless it's really beat in, where a launch kind of fresh out the box that's kind of how it flies. Where an ibex full speed would kind of be a little more straight.
And you said you're throwing the granite launch. Is that the one that you had? I can't remember.
Oh no, I just have the first run launch that team members got.
Okay. Are you throwing the firm or the medium on that one?
I throw a firm. It's more of a merm, but yeah.
Merm, yeah. So are you excited about the firm crag and just the firm in general, the firm mix coming back?
Yeah. So this is one thing that I've noticed. So being in a different state throwing, I get a lot more skips out here because the ground is a lot more hard and we have different styles of grass, really. And so in Utah, I wouldn't get hardly any skips, like ever. But out here, like I can throw a notch kind of flat and I'll get a big flare skip like I'm supposed to. So honestly, I don't have too many complaints as far as the firmness. I mean, as far as skipping goes, the firmness definitely is a factor, but a lot of your angle control and having the nose up a little bit definitely helps with your skip potential.
Yeah.
So just another thing for beginning Vibram players that might not know how to get skip out of your disc.
Well, no, that's a great piece of advice. What other, kind of wrapping up here, finishing up on the night, what kind of advice would you give to new players that are starting out? And if somebody came to you and said, "Hey, I've never played disc golf, but it looks like you're having fun. Can you help me get into the sport?" How would you start that conversation? What kind of disc would you give them?
I usually give them something that's familiar for them. I feel like a lot of high-speed drivers are kind of a little too much for beginning players. An ultimate frisbee is shaped a lot like our putters, maybe a little bit smaller, but giving them like a summit or something would be really good in their hands, and they can get it to kind of flex and get a full flight out of it. And I feel like building a lot of confidence early on for disc golfers is a big important thing. I know, like, if I didn't have friends and I was just starting to play disc golf, it would be really challenging, and I don't know if I would really want to do anything. But one of my best friends at disc golf, Chris Telesbo, he throws a mile. He's sponsored by Dynamic Disc, but when he first started, he basically just threw everything on a huge hyzer and just tried to throw it as high as he could. And then I think he threw like a DX Valkyrie, and it finally got it to flip and do this big S turn. And he's like, "Wow, I'm addicted to this game. I've figured it out. Like, I'm going to play it." And that can be a huge thing for beginning disc golfers, just finally getting that full flight and that full shot to go where you want. I think it's a big thing. And I think that's a big thing with all disc golfers, is just having confidence. I know, like, in a tournament, if I throw a bad shot and the next shot I come up on and I throw a good one, I'm right back in it. Like, I completely forget what I've done and I'm ready to go on the next one shot at a time kind of thing, is what Ben Kroll always tells me. He's another Vibram team player. He's probably one of our better team players, probably the best.
Yeah, we
He's a
spoke
really
to
good
him
guy.
last week. He's a good dude, man. So
Yeah.
you've played with Ben quite a bit then? Are you guys buddies?
Yeah, me and Ben, we became buddies. We went and played the GoPro games last year.
Okay.
Um, that was a lot of fun. That was kind of my first time meeting a lot of the players. I pretty much just spent the whole time taking beginning disc golfers up through the little temporary course that we made. And then, of course, we hung out as a team and played. But I stayed with him and then Ross Brandt. And Mitch was there, but he was with his family, so he was kind of in and out. And Sean Jack, he's another guy that was there.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
he runs a lot of technical stuff. But yeah, me and Ben, we became friends there, and we discuss disc golf all the time. We probably talk once or twice a week.
Right on, man.
And just discuss our upcoming tournaments or how we did and what we've been working on and what we're bagging. I really like to inquire what is in his bag to kind of shape what is in mine. But he changes. Like he's putting with VPs now, so
Yeah.
I don't know if I can trust him anymore.
Yeah, that's a stable putt, man. I'll putt with a VP if there's a 15-mile-an-hour headwind in my face or something. That's about it.
Yeah. No, he's actually putting really well right now. He just won a tournament a couple weeks ago in a playoff. So, yeah, he's doing really well, doing really good things.
Yeah, he's a good dude. That's really cool. You have anybody that you want to give shout outs to, man? Any sponsors or anybody that's helping you along the way other than Vibram?
Infinite Discs.
Okay.
I've been on their street team probably since I started.
Okay.
Really good friends with Alan Barker. He's the owner of the company.
Okay.
Tina and Eric Oakley. I guess it's Tina's company. Whale Sacks. So I don't use a birdie bag or anything. I use a whale sack.
I've never
Tina
heard of
owns
those.
that?
Talk about those.
You've never heard of a whale sack?
No, talk about that for a minute,
Oh, man.
I've got
They're
a
awesome.
birdie bag of some sort. I don't even know what the heck brand mine is, to be honest with you.
So this is a whale sack. It's shaped like a whale.
Okay.
And it has the two things that just tie onto your back.
Okay, easy enough.
And so it's very similar to a chalk bag, but it's little tiny.
Silica beads.
I guess it's kind of they're just like little beads, and they break up gradually, so it's not just like chalk all the time, just like spewing out of your bag, and so you just break them up little by little. And it just hangs right on your bag. It's really awesome.
That is awesome.
So
Whale Sacks.
This year.
WHALE. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Interesting. We'll have to give them some love, man. Put some notes out there on that one. Who else you got out there? So you got Infinite Discs and Whale Sacks and Vibram. Who else you got?
I'm part of the Team Utah Open. Jade Sewell, the guy who the tournament director, and helped me get sponsored. Definitely still support him. Trying to get a lot of recognition to Utah. Utah's kind of an untapped vessel of disc golfers, and he's doing a lot of really good stuff putting in courses out there. Since I've known him, I think he's put in probably over 10 courses in the matter of a few years. So does a lot of stuff for the sport. So
that's awesome. That is nothing wrong with a couple of the people out there being true ambassadors, right? You got the folks that are like, oh, I'm doing something to help grow the sport, but in reality, all they're doing is they're a vendor selling discs at your weekly events. That's, to me, that's not really doing a whole lot. If you're the one that's sponsoring the events, running the events, really getting it out there, taking the time to put it on social media, talk to the grandmother at the grocery store about the tournament because she might have a grandson who plays disc golf. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
It's those type people that are truly going to make a difference. And, I try to be an ambassador myself. I don't get out of my house as much as I need to, but I definitely, every time I do, I try to give some Vibram love out there, and I know that you are doing that as well, and we greatly appreciate that. I know that you're going to continue doing some awesome things, and hopefully we can continue to help you, get your name out there and maybe get you some other sponsors and that sort of thing too. Brian,
Cool.
any final thoughts and things that that I didn't cover that you would love to hear from Casey?
No, I think we got all the questions. I read them before we started.
Yeah.
Final thoughts. Keep it classy.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, keep it classy. I think that was more of a comment to inside the group, Casey, than yourself. I think you got it covered. One question I'm going to finish up on, though, and it's just more of a fun question. They got these goofballs put these questions out here. I don't know if you had a chance to read. So they want to know, do you use filters or are you unfiltered on your Instagram pictures?
Most of the time, I'm unfiltered.
Unfiltered. Nice.
Yep, unfiltered.
All right. So we got that one down.
Yeah, if it's like a cloudy day or something like that, I might try to lighten up the picture a little bit to make the yellow pop a little bit more, but that's pretty much it.
So are you a photography guy in general? Because I looked at your pictures, man. I'm not joking. You got some seriously good pictures.
Yeah, I do enjoy taking pictures. I just always kind of had an artistic eye and just really enjoyed really anything in that realm. But yeah, photography is kind of a newfound thing that I enjoy.
Right on.
But I don't have like a professional camera or anything. Everything's just done from my iPhone.
iPhone's a beautiful thing these days.
I need to get an iPhone 7. Their camera's a lot better.
Yeah, my wife just got the 7. It is pretty sweet. So, we got a couple more out here. We got, now that you're on the East Coast, I know you haven't been here long, West Coast or East Coast?
I would probably prefer the West Coast, I think. I think when it comes to like holidays and stuff, I mean, of course, family and stuff, but I don't know what I'm going to do without a white Christmas.
Yeah,
that's going to be a big change for me.
At. You're not getting that in Charleston, dude.
Yep.
No, well, we might get a hurricane.
Yeah. Yeah. I get a little bit of snow, usually 2-3 times a year up here in Charlotte, but you're still a little bit too far south and way too close to the ocean to get any snow where you're at.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen for me here.
No. Let's see. Some of these I'm going to pass up on questions here, but
I'm sure a lot of them are from Guy.
Yeah. He's got some silly. Do you know Guy? Are you guys buddies?
Yeah, me and Guy we've just chatted a lot through the collectors group, and I bought stuff from him over the years.
Yeah.
I had a weird obsession for the Black Ridges for a long time.
I remember that.
I bought a couple of, so yeah, I think I have like 8 of them now. It's just kind of, I need to slow down for a little while on them.
Hey man, we all do it.
But I love them. I love them. They were my main like practice putter for a long time.
What else do you collect outside the Black Ridges, or are you just a typically hold your throwers and that's about it?
I try to collect everything. So since I've started disc golf, I've bought a ridge and a lace from every Maple Hill Open. So I collect those. That's kind of just like a weird little niche that I have.
Okay.
But really any ridges, I'm a big fan of ridges.
Right on.
And 52 speed Ibexes. I probably have 10 of those.
Yes.
I don't know what it is about that run. They just fly so good for me, and they break in so nice.
Yeah, they really do. They really do. Well, man, I appreciate you joining us, and I won't keep you any longer. I know it's getting late. But any last thoughts you want to put out to the group and to the Vibram family out there?
I just want to say thank you for all your support. There's so many people in the group that have reached out to me, like when I'm looking for something, and definitely offered me a solid deal or marked it way, way down compared to what they could sell it for. So just that love is greatly appreciated, and just all the camaraderie with everybody, meeting friends and being able to go out and play with you guys. It's been awesome. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That is huge. And I think that's what makes this Vibram group a little bit different, right? But then again, we'll continue to grow it, and we'll continue to get better and continue to spread the love. Everybody out there, Vibram Disc Golf Collectors Group, and those of you that joined us live tonight, thanks for joining us. Those of you that are rewatching, thanks for putting in the time to stay connected with us. I hope that you continue to throw them straight, and your next round is your best round.